3, 2, 1, 0.
Folks, it's 7 o'clock. It is Monday, which means it is time for Monday Night Nerd. Today is Family Day. Today is February 17th. This is a very important day for the podcast because today is the 2-year anniversary. I cannot believe that I have been doing this for 2 years. If you told me back in 2023 that I would be here 2025 celebrating a 2-year anniversary of this show, I would, yeah, right. I'm probably going to do this for 3 weeks and get bored, or no one's going to watch and I'm just going to walk away from it. But we are here 90 episodes later. We are here for Monday Night Nerd. I greatly appreciate you guys swinging by here on Family Day. I hope you are having a good family day. I hope you're spending time with your loved ones. I am spending time with my loved ones. My animals are downstairs. My wife is far away in Mexico. She is enjoying a vacation, which I could be on, but I have so many conventions this year. I do not have the time at work to book all this time off. So she is enjoying time with her family, and I'm spending time with the animals here. Hello, everybody. Andre, Lark Bark, Pretty Nerdy. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all being here. I really don't have a ton to plan. We're going to talk for a while, but I really don't have any notes. Usually I've got a whole bunch of notes here on the other screen about what we're going to talk about, but I just want to talk tonight. But we do have some news, so I want to start off with that, and then we're just going to talk. We're going to yak for a little bit. We might throw it to, maybe we'll get one or two of you on here. I don't know. But let's start off with a little bit of news. Let's kick things off with the new Marvel movie. Marvel is still making movies, folks. Captain America, Brave New World is in theaters now, and I was there opening night, as always. I don't think I've missed a mainline Marvel movie opening night in a long time. Captain America, Brave New World. Everything I have heard about it is exactly what Alex said. Is the perfect word that everyone has told me. I was not spoiled, but I saw a couple reviews before I went to see the film, and that was kind of the review. Everyone just said, Well, let's talk about it. For those who didn't see the trailer, for those who don't know what this is all about, Sam Wilson, Falcon, is Captain America. This is his first mainline movie, and we have General Ross from the Hulk franchise is now played by Harrison Ford. He is the President of the United States, and there is a conspiracy somewhere in his White House team. There is a leak. There is somebody infiltrating it, and basically we don't know much else except that at some point Ross turns into Red Hulk, which is not a spoiler. Now, what are my thoughts on this? Well, first off, I am a big Captain America fan. Steve Rogers was my favorite hero in the MCU. I've said it 100 times. I cannot, after all these years, watch the end of Endgame where he hands over the shield and he gets his happy ending without bawling my eyes out. I'm always in tears because it's exactly what I wanted. I wanted Steve to get his happy ending with Peggy, and he does. So having Sam Wilson as the new Cap is interesting. I actually enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Disney Plus series, so I was excited to see this. And let me see what Alex says. Alex says, not the worst, not as bad as DC, but far from the middle of Marvel movies. Fair. Let's say that this is one of the better ones since Endgame. I'll definitely say that. Over the past couple years, there's definitely been a very strong roller coaster effect when it comes to Marvel movies and Marvel properties. There has been WandaVision, then there has been what some people didn't like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I certainly did. Then there's Doctor Strange, and then there's Wakanda 2, and like there's always something, Black Panther 2 I should say. There's always an up and down. It seems like they have a good one, then they have a bad one. They have a good one, they have a bad one, then a good one, a bad one. I did not mind this movie. I thought it was fine. It is not Captain America Civil War. It is not Captain America the Winter Soldier. It is not Captain America First Avenger. I wasn't expecting it to be, though, because it's not, and it never would be. I've seen so many photos of people saying, it's the worst rated Captain America, and I'm like, well, yeah, because the first 3 were incredible. Like, Civil War is one of the best Marvel comic book series. Winter Soldier was a great spy movie, and First Avenger introduced Captain America with a World War II story. Like, those are 3 epic movies. It's understandable that the 4th one that doesn't involve Steve Rogers isn't the best one. That doesn't bother me. When it comes to people complaining about CGI and blah, 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 and they didn't like the music or they didn't like the nitpicking I see with Marvel fans is hilarious sometimes. Like it is so funny to see people be like, you know, when the Red Hulk, he should be like a little bigger, and he shouldn't look like that. Like, people complaining about the way the Thing looks in the Fantastic Four trailer. It's like, guys, whether it looks exactly like the comic book character or it doesn't, there's no winning with some people. Overall, this movie was fine. It was a fine Marvel movie. I was entertained. Was there any moment where I was feeling like a little kid like I did when I saw Avengers or when I saw Endgame, where I was like, I'm seeing my heroes on the big screen? No. But we've also had 40 of these. Like, let's be honest, folks. We're not going to get pre-Endgame movies anymore. Stop thinking about that. It will ruin every Marvel experience if you go in comparing. Those were one thing. This is something completely different. The pacing was fine. The story was interesting. The villain overall is not Red Hulk. It is someone else. I don't want to spoil it because I haven't really talked about it. But it was fine. I think it's a good movie. It is entertaining. I have definitely sat through worse. So I say go see it. If you're a fan of Anthony Mackie and the Falcon character, you will enjoy this movie. If you've seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, you'll understand this because it does kind of tie in a little bit. There are some tie-ins to previous Marvel movies that were like, that was a post-credit scene that we didn't go anywhere. Well, now you got it. Now you got exactly what you wanted. So I don't want to spoil too much because it is the first weekend that it's been out. So I'm not going to get too in-depth. But it was good. I had no problem with it. I thought Anthony Mackie was very good. I really liked Harrison Ford as General Ross. He was a great, great character in the MCU because the way Harrison played that character, I will kind of give a little bit of background without spoiling anything. Basically, they understand the way Ross was back when he was played by the other actor that I can't remember, back in Civil War where he hated superheroes. Well, now he's turning a new leaf and he wants to rebuild the Avengers, which is in a trailer, so I'm not spoiling that. And he wants Anthony Mackie, Falcon, Captain America, to lead that team. And the whole movie is sort of Harrison Ford's character playing it sort of, I'm a new person. I'm not the old General Ross. And it's really good the way he plays it because there is a little bit of, you can kind of feel William Hurt. Thank you, Andre. You can kind of feel there's a little bit of BS behind it, but you honestly feel like he's trying his best to not be that old general. He says in a couple scenes, I'm not that person. This is what the people want. They want me to be impartial. They want me to be a positive figure. They don't want the old Ross. So that was really fun. I enjoyed the way that Harrison played it, and I will spoil it, not spoil it. He doesn't die in the end. So from what we can tell, he will be in the future MCU movies, which I'm super happy about because I thought it was a great portrayal. So overall, go watch it. Go watch it. I say go see it in a theater. I thought it was fine. Like I said, I've sat through other Marvel movies that were a lot worse, and I'm not going to say which ones, but you can kind of put two and two together on which ones those are. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. No, I'd give it a 6, maybe 6.5. It's fine. It's not an A. It's not a best movie ever. I thought it was good. Another movie that I have never seen, which is going to make people laugh because I'm such an 80s kid. This is a cult classic that so many people have talked about. There are memes there. I've actually held the main character of this movie in the palm of my hand, and I never saw the movie. And finally, last night, Crystal and I were yakking a little bit, and I said, I really should watch a movie because I got the house to myself. I can kind of, do whatever I feel like. So I should watch a movie. What's a movie I have not watched ever? I never watched Gremlins. I've never seen Gremlins. And I thought, what the hell? Let's watch it. And I gotta admit, it was pretty fun. However, I do feel that I needed to be a certain age for it to be a cult classic. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie, but it didn't hit me like this is one of the best movies ever made. The acting was great. Gizmo is adorable. And yes, I have held Gizmo in the palm of my hand. It was fun. I did feel like there are some slow parts in the movie. I feel like it could have been trimmed up a little bit. I know it's about only an hour, 40-minute movie, but I feel like it probably could have been cut to about an hour 30, maybe an hour 20. I know. It's one of those movies, and I was saying to Crystal, I've seen tons of clips from it. So I've seen most of it. I think there was only a couple scenes that I've not seen. Is it a Christmas movie? Thank you, Messiah. You know what? That is a very good question. Yes, it is definitely a Christmas movie. It takes place in Christmas. It is very Christmas themed, so I will consider it a Christmas movie. That is my range when it comes to Christmas movies. Just because something takes place at Christmas, I don't feel like it's a Christmas movie. It has to take place at Christmas, but also it has to bring up that it's Christmas time multiple times. Die Hard is very on the line, in my opinion. It is Christmas themed, and there's a couple references, but it's really on the line. But yeah, I think it's a Christmas movie, and it was fun. The part that made me, I could not believe this, and this is some celebrity shit that I don't know a ton of celebrity stuff, but I can't believe I didn't realize this. Phoebe Cates from Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins is married to Kevin Kline and has been married to him for like 3 decades. Like, that is not a couple I ever thought would be together, but they've been together for 30 years. That is shocking to me. I was just I was sitting there one minute, and I was flicking through my phone for a second, and I'm like, what's she up to? Like, what has she been doing lately? And it's like, husband Kevin Kline. I'm like, what? And then I saw they've been together since the 80s. So that kind of shocked me. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I thought the evil gremlins were really fun. She's retired so she can raise her kids. She can continue act. I like that. I appreciate that. She was great. I really enjoyed her. Probably the part, there wasn't many parts that made me laugh out loud. I'll fully admit that. But there was one point when they're in the movie and they're laughing, or they're singing, they're whistling the Snow White theme, and then they cut to the main character with Gizmo, and Gizmo's humming it too. That was like, okay, that's kind of cute. That made me laugh out loud. But yeah, it was fun. I could totally imagine being on set and them having a blast with this. So I will probably watch the second one sometime this week because I hear the second one is pretty funny and the Hulkster makes a cameo in it. So I'm definitely gonna have to watch that as a wrestling fan. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. It's definitely a cult classic. I can understand why everyone loves it so much. It's not a cult classic to me, but I'm glad I at least saw it. I'm happy I saw it. One last bit of news, and then we're going to get into the main event. Tech updates. So, we have been having some technical issues over the past... I got to adjust my toque because it is bugging me. We have been having some technical difficulties over the past few weeks, and I can happily announce we have solved the issue. So... we've had some video issues. We have some audio issues. What the problem is A, the speed of our internet, and B, where the router was. So over the past little while, we have upgraded our plan. So we now have faster internet upload and download. We've also moved our router. So what we've determined is this is our house. We have a back extension that was built on top of the house. The router is in this far corner. I'm over in this corner and I'm up a floor. Right here in the middle is, bold of you to assume that's all the issues there's going to be. Well, we're getting there, Messiah. Right in the middle is where the old chimney used to be. Now, for those who don't know, I live in a 100-year-old house. So, what is that chimney made of? What is inside that old chimney? I don't know. But we moved the router from here down to here, so it's more in the middle, and my signal's way better. My signal is way better. I was rocking a 60 download and 10 upload with the new internet and the new router layout. I am rocking 230 download and 30 upload, which I am way happy with. It's still not the best, but I'm way happier with it. Now, here's the thing. It's okay, guys. Everything is totally fixed. However, and I tested this room, I am getting about 230 download, 30 upload. Literally, the other side of this wall, that is right here, not with arm's reach, the other side of this wall, I'm getting over 400. So, it is the house. It is officially the house. So, I have a choice to make. The choice is, do I keep this layout where it is, and hopefully, we've tested it with one guest in a little test Crystal and I did. Time to sell and move? Nope, not yet. For what we have and what we'd be selling for, we'd be losing money. So we either keep it here, and we've tested it with one guest, and it's worked pretty good, or I move all this on the other side, and we get a better download. Alex said, what is your upload speed? No matter where we're in the house, 30. No matter what. We're paying for 100. But no matter where we are in the house, whether it's right next to the router or upstairs, it's 30. Haven't figured out how to fix that. At this point, I'm 3 times what I was 2 weeks ago. I'm happy right now. We'll deal with that at another date. So, I have to make a choice, and I'm going to be making it probably this week because I'm home all week for work, and I'm home and there's no wife here to take me away from things, so I can either move or I'm going to stay here. So, there might be a new background next week. It might not be this fancy cosplayer setup, but we're going to see. So, other than that, only other update, I've been working hard on some cosplay this week, and I can officially announce the cosplay that I am building for Toronto Game Expo. I am going to do my first gender bend cosplay. I am going to be doing the girl Chell from Portal 2. And that is my Portal gun. I've always loved Portal. I think it is one of the coolest franchises. I wish they would make a third one. And I've always wanted to build a Portal gun, and I went, you know what? I need a gaming cosplay that is not Luigi, because Luigi's great, but I'm tired of sweating my balls off in that cosplay. So I'm building a Portal gun. I have the jumpsuit in the other room. I have the tank tops on their way. We're going to do Chell from Portal for Toronto Game Expo. So this week, I'm doing a ton of work on that Portal gun. I need to figure out how to do LEDs and a whole lot more. But yes, I can officially announce, and I'll be posting it on my thing tomorrow. Portal will be the cosplay that I'm going to debut at Toronto Game Expo, where I'm guesting. So if you are in the Toronto area, you should check out Toronto Game Expo on Instagram. And I hope you guys swing by. It is at the end of March, the weekend after... weekend after Toronto Comic-Con. So March, I hope you guys will all be there. I'm going to be there. Freakish Workshop's going to be there. The Geeks & Co. are going to be there. Saphira Cosplay is going to be there. And a whole lot more. This is going to be a huge weekend in Toronto. I can't wait. It's going to be 2 weeks after. Thank you. Messiah Complex Cosplay with the Geeks & Co. will be there. 2 weeks after Toronto Comic-Con. It is going to be a blast. Now, if you guys are still here, I greatly appreciate that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me that you guys spending some of your family day when you could be spending your time with your actual family. You're spending some time here. I am so lonely because my wife is not here, but I'm spending my time with my animals, so that's my family. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Folks, we're going to do the sponsor, and then we're going to jump into the main event. Folks, the sponsor, as always, is my beautiful, loving, amazing, incredible wife, who is down in Mexico enjoying the sun and the fun while I sit here shoveling snow, freezing my ass off outside. I am super jealous that she is down there. I could have went with her, but, I have cons to do this year. She is incredible. She is unbelievable, and I'm so glad she's having a ton of fun down there. She has gone whale watching tonight, I believe, so super jealous about that. But yes, she is my sponsor. She will always be my sponsor. Hun, I love you. You mean the world to me. I cannot wait till you get home. And Messiah Complex, of course, don't forget to come to the after party hosted by the Geeks & Co. on Saturday night. Maybe I'll make an appearance. Maybe. So let's talk about the main event, folks. This is the 2-year insane. It's insane that I've been doing this for 2 to do this. It was literally this weekend. It was Family Day weekend, and I was sitting around on a Saturday, and you may remember an old episode of this. Mr. David Thorne, the first guest on this podcast, he had an old show that I guested on. I was one of his last guests. I killed the show, and he had a whole bunch of podcast equipment. This podcast equipment, technically. And he was moving. He was moving from his house. He was moving in with his girlfriend at the time, now wife. And they were moving into an apartment. They didn't have the space. And he said, well, you ever thought of doing a podcast? And I said, I've thought about it. And he goes, do you want the stuff? And I was like, you serious? How much do you want for it? He's like, I'll just give you the tech. He goes, I'm not needing it. He goes, if I ever need it back, I'll ask for it. I was like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. So I got all the tech, and I just went, man, I literally have everything I could need to do this. Why am I not doing it? And it's kind of the same feeling I had during the pandemic when I started really doing this cosplay thing, when I got laid off like the first week when the pandemic hit. And I knew I was going to be laid off for 3 months. And I remember waking up on the first Monday, and I was like, look, I could go downstairs. I could be bummed. I could go watch a movie. I could play games all day and just do nothing. Or I could use the time that I'm given and do something that I've always wanted to do, but I always had the excuse of, well, I just don't have time. Well, guess what, buddy? You got all the time in the world now. You're getting paid, technically, from the government to just do whatever you feel you should do. So do it. And that's when I started the cosplay thing. And I had that exact same feeling when I had all the tech in front of me. I'm like, I could do a podcast right now. Why am I not? No, and I've heard so many people talk about, that fear of, well, what if somebody watches and you say something stupid, or, people are going to make fun of you. No one did. No one did. Everyone was super excited. And I feel like there's such a fear about doing things like this or cosplay or anything that you want to do. And it's like, man, no one cares. And I don't mean that in a negative. I don't mean like your friends and family don't care. Your friends and family got your back. But everyone is caring about their own stuff to care more about you than to care more about you. Like, if I sit here and I complain that portal gun isn't working well to Pretty Nerdy Crystal, Crystal's going to feel bad that I'm feeling that way. But she cares more about her stuff than she cares about mine. And I get that. I completely understand that. Crystal said, for some, not a lot. COVID was a positive. I had the worst morning sickness and extreme exhaustion for the first 3 months to where I couldn't work if my job was even open. Yeah. And the pandemic was a horrible, horrible time. But I feel like for a lot of artists, it was the perfect opportunity to at least try things. Brendan said, only thing I care about is you. Well, I appreciate that, Brendan. I really do. I would care if your ship broke. I would care if my ship broke. But you know what I mean? Like, people care more about their own stuff than other people's. It's an old saying I heard many years ago, and I say it all the time. You know who cares less about your problems? Everybody. Everybody cares less about your problems than you do. And that's fine. It actually is super freeing to allow you to do these things. Because if I sat here and I was like, oh, nobody's watching. Oh, no one cares that I'm on this. Well, yeah, no one cares because it was my first time doing something like this, and everyone is out doing their own stuff. So that fear was, I couldn't live in that. I couldn't think about that. I just wanted to do this for me. I've done so many fun things when it comes to going to Comic-Cons for 15 years, volunteering with celebrities for 10 years. And it really came down to, I always had these stories, and either the people I was around knew the stories or were there for the stories, or I'd already told them. And I wanted to just be like, hey, what if I just told the world these stories? Would they be interested? Well, I could sit here and I could go, well, I'm just going to hold on to these, and when I see you in person, maybe I'll say them. Or I could just go on once a week and bleh for an hour or half hour, whatever it is. And if people care, people care. And if they don't, well, there's still benefits to this. The benefit of this is I'm getting way more comfortable in front of a camera and in front of talking to people, which is stage fright 101, how to beat it. It's also given me things to talk about if I ever want to do a panel, which is a good segue because at Toronto Game Expo, I'm going to be doing my first panel with the Freakish Workshop talking about cosplay foam and all you need to do to start cosplaying with foam. But it's given me a platform to just kind of dump my ideas out, and if they're good, I can go back to them and either make them into a panel idea or maybe do a side video that I can talk about. Prime example, segue again. I mentioned this on the pre-show. In my drafts on YouTube, I've got about 5 videos drafted that I shot a little while ago. A couple of them are talking about what it's like to be a part of cosplay competitions. Another one is about cheating in cosplay competitions, because it's kind of a hot topic now with some certain people. But I'm also going to start a series called Celebrity Something. I still haven't figured out a name for it. But it's those stories about meeting celebrities and what it was like to talk to them. Like hanging out with Larry Thomas and Sam Jones, meeting Trish Stratus for the first time, running into Ron Perlman in nothing but a robe. Like, these are stories that I think would be fun. And I could, and I have, talked about them on the podcast. But then I got to sit there and I got to edit it. And if I screwed up something in the story, then I got to mess around with it. I now have an idea, I can shoot it later. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without the podcast. So it's been a great 2 years of coming up with ideas for things that I can do later. And it was funny thinking about the first episode. I went back and watched it, and it wasn't as cringe as I thought it would be. Like, it's cringy. 100% it's cringy. I'm not going to say I nailed it on the first episode. Oh, no. I did not nail it on the first episode. But it was also really eye-opening, because it's only been 2 years, but it's fun to look back on it and go like, man, that's a pretty ballsy thing to think about. Like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but like, that's a kid. When it comes to this, like, that was a kid doing that, because I had no idea what I was doing. Well, now I know what I'm doing tonight, going to watch the first episode. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It really is. But in a good way. But yeah, it's I don't want to ramble too much about it, but it's just kind of crazy to think that it's been 90 episodes. And I thank my wife every single episode for being my sponsor, but I also wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like Dave Thorne, who had me on his podcast for the first time. And I wish I was able to get a video of his podcast, because I'm not joking. The way he shot his podcast was like, he was here, his co-host was here, and I was literally sitting in the middle. We're all in the same room. And instead of me being like this and energized, I'm sitting like this back here, and I'm kind of just talking and not really, I'm kind of It is weird to see me act like that. And I'm like, I am so lost in this podcast. And he joked about it later. But if it wasn't for him putting me on his show, I wouldn't have been like, oh, that was fun. Like, that was really fun. I kind of want to do that again. And along with that, I would be remiss to not thank Messiah and JS and Rob from the Geeks & Co. for putting me on their show, because at that point I enjoyed the idea of going on a podcast, but I don't know, it was almost like, okay, that was fun, but was it fun because I was talking to a buddy, or is it the podcast talking thing fun? Because at first I was like, oh, it's just because I was talking to Dave, because Dave and I are buddies. We talk all the time. It's not a big deal. But once I got off the Geeks & Co. show, I kind of was like, oh, I like this. I really like this. Okay, how do I figure out a way to do this myself? And so, yeah, I got to give a big thanks to all of them for having me on the show, not just once, but also trusting me to be on it a multitude of times at this point. And yes, once all the technical difficulties are worked out, we will have all of them back on. Wink, wink, Messiah. We will definitely have all of them back on. I actually have ideas to separate them and have each of them on for a specific episode, because I have ideas that I think each one of them would be a specialized episode. But also, Crystal in chat for being on the show, Freakish Workshop for being on the show and also throwing ideas at me. Freakish Workshop is one of the few people who messages me and he's like, hey, I got an idea for an episode. Because he was the one who thought about the Spider-Man episode, because when I was on vacation last year, I didn't know what to do while I was on break. And he's like, we should talk about best Batman costumes. I'm like, we should talk about best Batman costumes. So, he throws out great ideas. And I got a really fun idea that I'm going to do with Crystal in the next couple weeks, maybe a month. We'll talk more about the date later. But I really want to start a series that I've been kind of throwing about, and I mentioned it briefly on the show about a month or two ago. I want to do a series where I get people on the show who are fans of properties that I'm not a fan of. And I don't want to have the episode be like, impress me. But I kind of want their opinion of like, okay, I'm not a fan of this. Explain to me why you love this so much. And, tell me what's so great about it. Because I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Not a Harry Potter fan at all. I've seen 4 of the movies. I've played the entire Lego series, more because it's a Lego series than it's Harry Potter. But I remember going on my honeymoon and we went to Universal Studios and I went into Diagon Alley with my wife, who's not diehard, but she's a Harry Potter fan. And I walked through and I was like, oh, okay. I get this. I get why you guys love this so much. And that's where that kind of comes from. Whereas I want people to come on, Crystal specifically, will be Fallout. I have tried to play Fallout multiple times. I do not like it. I tried New Vegas. I've tried 4. I've tried 70s. I don't think I played 76 yet. 4 and New Vegas for sure. And I just don't like them. They're not for me. They're just not my games. But she is a giant Fallout fan, so I want her to come on and talk about those. Like, why is Fallout so big to you? Why is it such a huge franchise in your opinion? What made you fall in love with it? And I want to do that with other things. I want to do it with Harry Potter. I want to do it with Lord of the Rings. I want to do it with Game of Thrones. I want to do it with, name a television series, because I barely watch any TV. But there are definitely series out there that are like diehard fan favorites that have cult followings, and I'm just like, it's not for me. But I want to know why. Why is it a cult following? Why do you guys love it so much? So that's going to be something I definitely want to have a couple people on and give me their thoughts on their fandoms, because I am a giant wrestling fan, and I know there's some people in chat, Crystal, who aren't wrestling fans, and I could sit there and go, this is why wrestling's great, and she probably would fall asleep. But I want to know why are certain series as big to you as they are. So that's something we're definitely going to go do going forward. When it comes to episodes in the future, I know last year I definitely wanted to do more guests, but because of the technical issues, we weren't able to do as many as I wanted to. So I think I'm going to put that as a priority for 2025. I want to try and do at least one a month. Maybe one every other month, depending on people's availability and ideas and such. With 14 cons, that's 14 episodes out of 32 weeks. Yeah, 32 weeks, 36 weeks, whatever it is. It's a good chunk of those shows that are going to be specifically con-oriented, about reviews of the cons and what's my thoughts on them. We've also got the 100th episode coming up on the 5th, which is also going to kind of be a birthday episode, kind of, because my birthday is the 9th. So we're definitely going to talk about that on the 100th episode. The 99th episode, I'm going to Metallica. I bought the $5,000 crazy expensive behind the scenes ticket. So I'm going to have a full breakdown on the 99th episode, which will be the 28th of April. Other than that, though, like I said, we're definitely going to have some specialty episodes with some guests. I know I definitely want to get Messiah back for a specific episode, which I've not talked to him about, but I definitely will when we get closer to. Crystal will be on for sure to talk about Fallout. Alex in chat, 80s Saturday cartoons. Could I do a whole episode on 80s cartoons? I don't know. See, I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 88, so I don't have a lot of 80s cartoons knowledge. I might be, you know what? I will put it in my bank here. 80s Saturday cartoons. Cartoons, not cat tunes. Some other thing, there's one that I came up with last night that I cannot wait to talk about, and I might have to have Dave Thorne come back for this because I know he is a huge nerd when it comes to this, and so am I. I want to have a 2-part episode. We're going to split this into 2 because there's so many. The top 10 arcade cabinets. I was thinking about it last night, thinking about going to an arcade, and I was like, man, there were some good arcade cabinets. We could do a full episode on that. And then I started going through my list of like what my top 10 were, and I came up with 20. So we're definitely going to do a top 10 and then another top 10 of the best arcade cabinets, which I'm really excited to talk about. Other than that, we're going to talk about, if you're a WWE fan, we're going to definitely go into the Ruthless Aggression era. I want to talk about the Ruthless Aggression era because that was kind of close to the peak of my fandom. I want to talk about that. I definitely want to talk about the WWE Invasion. What else? We're going to talk about cosplaying on a budget. That's a big one, especially with prices of everything skyrocketing. That's one that's going to be in the future. We are going to go back to the 90s. We're definitely going to be talking about 90s McDonald's toys. This is a big one. I really want to talk about 90s McDonald's toys because those were incredible. And that's also going to talk about collectibles because I also want to talk about NHL McDonald's because back in the day, NHL hockey cards were just as popular back then. And you also had things like the Muppet fuzzy stuffed animals. You also had the goalie helmets and a whole lot more. So we're definitely going to have a McDonald's hockey episode, and we're going to have a McDonald's toy episode. But yeah, that's kind of, you know, I don't know what else to talk about without kind of going on and on about how great the show has been because I'm super happy. Like I really am. I'm super happy that we're doing this. And, you know, right now there's a bunch of you in chat, and it really shocks me that anyone gives a shit. Like, really. Like, if I was here and this was episode 90 and one person was in the chat, I would totally be okay with it. But to know that there's a bunch of you in here, it makes me feel so good. And by the way, it's not a bunch of you that were here on the first episode. You're all new people. All of you guys, I bet maybe one of you were still here on the first episode, but most of you are all new. And that means so much to me that you guys are spending not just a Monday night with me, but a Monday night of family night. Like, you could be doing so many other things. As a joke that I saw a bunch of comedians do, you could be watching reruns of The Simpsons, and a guy goes, watching The Simpsons, and takes off running. Like, you could be doing so much, and you're spending some time with me, even if you just got me on the background as white noise, because I am white, and I make a lot of noise. It's really cool. It's really cool. Lark Bark, I'm glad I found your content, buddy, because you have an awesome but brilliant way of streaming. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. And Alex, love listening to your show. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, it's fun. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I'm still enjoying doing this. The only thing that might change is the background behind us. But yeah, it's been a fun ride so far. 2 years. 2 years of doing this. I cannot believe it. I'm not going to take up any more of your night, folks. I'm going to let you guys get out of here a little early and spend some time with your loved ones. Again, if you're still here, if you can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It means a ton to me. We got a lot planned for this year. We got a lot of cosplay. We got a lot of cons. I got a lot of video content coming out over the next couple months. So definitely hit that subscribe button, because we got not just the podcast on Mondays, but we're also going to have stuff posted on Wednesdays and Fridays and shorts throughout the week. So we are going to be pumping out YouTube content for sure this year. Need your banner as the background. Yeah, you know what? That is so. Before, actually, let me tell you, I'm going to do this before I boogie. The big apprehension about doing it in the other room is one reason, and that is because of the way, again, the house is built. I only have one corner in that room. The other three corners, one is a door, and the other two have it's a beam or something is there blocking. I believe it's insulation. So, or not insulation, air things. So I can only put things into one corner of the room, which makes this kind of a pain in the arse. So it's one of those, what am I going to get out of it? We will see. Mr. Famous now, not even close. Not even close. I just want to point out again, Crystal, you have a Fan Expo banner. So we are, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to make a decision this week. It won't take me a long time to move everything, so it's not a giant deal. It's just, we'll see. We'll see. We might be back here next week. But on that note, I will let you guys get out of here. Again, it means so much to me that you're spending even a second checking out this video. I will definitely be back next week with some more stuff. What do we have planned for next week? Let me check my list. We got a couple ideas. I'm going to throw it out in a poll. You guys, there's a couple of you in chat. I'm going to see what you guys say. We could talk about cosplaying as a kid, what it was like cosplaying as a kid in the 90s, or talk about Marvel Civil War, the comic series. What do you guys want to talk about next week? Civil War or cosplaying as a kid? Because I've got a whole bunch of fun stories to talk about cosplaying as a kid, including me doing my faceplate and permanent marker. That's one of the stories. What's your thoughts? We got a Civil War from Crystal. Anybody gonna break the tie of one? Civil War. All right, we got a couple Civil Wars. I'll take 2 Civil Wars. All right, so that means next week we are going to talk about Marvel Civil War and its impact on the comic landscape, because this was a big series back in the day. It's also kind of a weird series if you don't really know. Ooh, Marcy said cosplaying as a kid. Well, either way, we're going to do the other one the next week, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, Marvel Civil War is a great series, but kind of, when you look deep into it, kind of a weird series. So we'll talk about that. And then either the next week or whatever, we will talk about cosplaying as a kid. Alex says there was no cosplay when I was a kid outside of Halloween. Well, for most there wasn't. This guy there was. I had some. We are going to talk about Halloween costumes, but there's also going to be some non-Halloween costumes of me as a kid. But again, thank you all very much for joining. I appreciate you so much for spending some time with me. I love you all, and I'll let you enjoy your family day. Have a great week. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. See you very soon. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.